Hello and welcome back to Sharing the Love. Today we're sharing the love with the beautiful starshine Corinna Rae. Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you.
To quickly jump into it, could you please introduce yourself with 5 words?
I'm going to start out with unconventional,
Mm,
passionate,
mm,
spontaneous, versatile, probably empathetic,
yeah, beautiful. And which one out of those 5 words speaks out to you the most in the current phase that you're in?
unconventional.
Right? Why would you say that?
I kind of don't fit in any box, and I'm okay with that. I've grown to be okay with that. I'm just paving my own way and following my own path.
Wow, I love that. Alrighty, it's time for our love bowl. You know the drill. Just say stop whenever you're ready.
Okay. Feels like a lot of pressure. Okay, stop.
Alrighty. And the topic for today is joy.
Joy. Of course, it's Joy. That was my grandma's middle name, who
Oh,
just passed in December. So
wow. It's crazy because I feel like every time I pull something out of this love bowl, it's like made for the guest who's on. So
yeah,
let's see where this takes us. My first question for you today is, what's the first thing that comes to mind when you think of the word joy?
the sun.
Mm,
When I think joy, I think the word radiance is like pinging in my head. I just think of that bright light, that warmth. It's like joy feels like sunshine inside of you.
yes, it does. Yes, it does, sister. And I love that you said that. I feel the same way. It just feels like true, pure joy, like more than contentment, more than happiness. It feels something that bursts in the middle of you outwardly.
And then it's like when you feel such immense joy that it's radiating off of you, you, in an essence, are like a sun to other people. They feel
Wow.
your warmth.
My next question is, what role do you feel joy plays in personal fulfillment and well-being?
If an individual is pursuing fulfillment, joy needs to be understood that it's not always going to be there.
Mm,
It is to be enjoyed when it is there, but accept the ebbs and flows, right?
right.
Like we've talked about before,
Mm,
change is the only constant in life.
yes.
So striving for joy always is going to leave you feeling disappointed
Mm,
when there's a lack of, but accepting that, okay, I'm not always going to feel joy,
mm,
but if I can hit it and then just always kind of be striving to move
yeah.
forward and just do the best that you can and know that you will earn those moments of joy
Mm.
and embrace them as much as you can when you have them, with knowing that they're not always going to be there.
When people think of fulfillment, they associate joy as the reliance on it, right? That if I have the joy, then yeah, I'm fulfilled. When in reality, I believe that it's more about contentment and
Yeah.
appreciating when joy does come along because it is I don't want to say that it's a rarity. However, as you said, with the ebbs and flows of life, the waves that come in life, we can't be expecting. And I think expectation plays a huge role in that. Yeah.
I see it as when we have expectations, we're trying to control or force a certain outcome.
Mm,
So the contentment in my brain goes hand in hand with acceptance. I feel like acceptance is the key to
wow.
freedom.
How do you incorporate joy in your day to day?
Mm. I'd say I incorporate joy in my day to day, specifically through music. I
Mm,
definitely use music as a tool a lot. I feel like it's a very powerful tool for like setting
yes.
the mood, whatever vibe I want to be
Yeah.
on. Everything's energy, and it's like the energy that we get from music. I think people a lot of times kind of underestimate how much it affects you, whether it's like how much it can put you in a better mood, but also how
Mm,
much listening to music with low vibrational messaging and stuff can affect you whether you're realizing it or not. So
yes.
music, but also just finding joy in the ordinary. And I do that through looking for deeper meaning and
Mm,
purpose
mm,
in day-to-day things. I
yeah.
think a lot of people struggle to find purpose because they're trying to find purpose
Yeah.
instead of giving things
Yes.
purpose,
Purpose.
giving things meaning.
100%. Wow.
So using that kind of ideology to just appreciate little things and create that joy for myself. Like anything, we have it all starts within.
Mm.
And we can't be happy all the time, of course, but like you can do things, shift your perspective of things to create that joy within yourself in
Definitely.
simple moments.
Yeah. The two words that stood out to me in your answer are one, intentionality, and two, presence. You know, because as you're saying, a lot of people are always on this auto drive, on autopilot, you know, not really putting purpose or intentionality behind what they're doing on a day-to-day basis. And yes, you know, having a
Yeah.
purpose is amazing, and kind of living and striving to have, you know, goals that you want to reach and things that you want to achieve, and even sometimes, for the most part, for the higher good of the world. But it's like, how are you filling your cup on a day-to-day basis? It could be music
Yeah.
for you, it could be meditation for someone, it could be journaling for someone, it could be the gym for someone else. It can look differently for every single person. But I think it's
Yeah.
very important to be intentional about having a cup filler that is there constant throughout your days.
Yeah.
That you are, again, purposefully living, being here in the present, doing what you can today, not really thinking about, okay, what's tomorrow and after and yesterday, and it's just today.
Yeah. And you know, when you say that, it makes me think it's almost like there's different levels to joy.
Mm,
There's like the joy that people strive for, that you feel it in your chest,
mm,
you're just vibrating so high, you just feel so happy. But then there's like we were saying, the simple joys.
joys, right.
We can't always have the big highs, but that kind of brings up the question, what is the relationship between joy and contentment?
Mm, yeah.
Can you feel joy in just being content?
I mean, I think for someone like me, and I'll give a bit of context, you know, I was depressed for a very long time, a very big chunk of my life. Of course, there's a lot of things that come with that, but I was striving for anything but what I was feeling at the moment. And for me, I feel sometimes when we say contentment, people may see it as like being complacent or settling or just being content with something, when in reality it's not. That's why I always say to my clients, happiness is not a destination. That's not where I want to get you to. I want to get you to contentment, because contentment means that you are okay with whatever it is that's happening, and you're not relying on the external influences or experiences or situations to determine your internal world, right? And so when we're drawing that connection, I feel that you can definitely derive joy from contentment, because you are learning how to basically go more inwards rather than going outwards. I feel this is what we're doing, and there's a lot of distractions in the world today, in this hustle culture, this capitalistic culture. Everything that's outside of us is like, go, go, go. It feels like there's this kind of stillness. And I
Mm-hmm.
personally get true joy, like a feeling as if I'm in another frequency right after my meditation, and it is contentment. But that's
It's a
that's
magical feeling where
yeah,
you're just like peaceful, is what I keep thinking.
yeah,
It's like that inner peace.
peace, yeah.
And I also think that depending on a person's life path up until whatever point,
Mm,
being content can feel very different. I feel like someone that had, if two people both had very tumultuous upbringings,
mm,
for one person, that inner peace or like being content, finding that could be bring them joy to just be like, oh, I am so happy that I just feel content and at peace.
mm,
Another person, same experience, but had a different mindset at this time,
mm,
they could feel like this is boring. What else is like this
right.
isn't fulfilling because they're
Mm,
so used to And that kind of shows how two people can have the same experience, but depending on the work that they do, what they do with that experience, they will experience the same thing completely different ways.
Wow. And I always preach this, especially on these episodes, is honestly, it is about the mindset. Truly, the mindset kind of drives the perspective, and the perspective then drives the choice. And in both situations, you're basically talking about choice being the underlying thing that we seem to forget as humans. And that then draws back, goes full circle into the intentionality and the purpose that you were talking about. Because when you are intentional about the choices that you are making on a day to day basis and being present with them, appreciating what you have now, it's a whole different ballpark. I think ball game. It comes back to you, but we make it seem sometimes like we're chained and that we don't have a choice because of our life experiences.
And that's somewhat of a victim mentality. And it's really hard to blame anyone for feeling that way, because how can you expect someone to know their power
Mm,
to experience life in whatever way that they want to when they've never been taught that they can?
yeah.
If you've never been taught that you can, and you've always felt like life is so hard, nothing comes to me easily, I have to
Mm,
work, that's what you will continue to experience until someone comes along and says, hey, life, it doesn't have to be like
yeah.
that.
So this is a bit of a fun one, but if joy was a color, what color would it be and why?
Yellow,
Yeah.
for the same reason that I said the sun.
Yes.
It's bright, it's
Mm.
warm, it's it's just radiant.
Yeah, I agree. And it shines outwardly and inwardly. I feel even when you were talking before, there's something about someone who really um embodies joy, right? And has that joy within them. They're not only radiating it outwards, but they're attracting people towards
Yeah.
them. And like the sun, when you feel the warmth, you're like, oh, I just want more of this.
Also, yellow is like a lighter color,
Mm,
and I feel like joy is, it's not a dense emotion
yeah,
like
not a heavy
sadness,
emotion, right?
fear. It's
Right.
a lighter emotion to experience. So it
Yes.
also kind of mirrors the color in that way.
Yeah. My last question before we start wrapping up is what's one piece of advice that you could give to our audience to experience a bit more joy in their life or to invite more joy into their life?
Let me sit with this one for a second.
Take your time.
Find the joy in simply being.
Mm,
If you can find joy in just existing, just sitting, looking at the stars, sitting under a tree, sitting in the
mm,
grass, just experiencing what it feels like to be here right now. That is the most potent joy. And if you can find joy in that moment, I feel like you can find joy in any moment.
wow, wow. I think the most powerful part of this message of yours, which was truly beautiful, is you're not going to find it outside of yourself. And you're not going to
Mm-hmm.
find it attaching it to achievements or outcomes or goals or people or validation or anything that's outside of yourself. You're really going to find it in just being and appreciating. And I think that if I could give one piece of advice to inviting more joy, in line with what you're saying, it's tapping into gratitude. Wherever you are in life, whatever is happening,
Absolutely.
it's coming from a place of gratitude that we have this life that we're so blessed with. When so many others in the world, there's so much disparity. There are so many people that are not living this life that are able to be here watching our episode, in the comfort of their own home, having a roof over their head. So I think sometimes it's just like looking for these what people may see as simple blessings, but they really are
Yeah.
the biggest blessings.
Mm.
Having being healthy. I think starting with that, even just being healthy, right?
If there's ever anyone that feels like there's nothing to be grateful for, I would be like, look harder,
Yeah.
think deeper,
Go
because
watch the
there's
news. Yeah.
so much.
So much. Yeah. No, that's true. What was your biggest takeaway from our conversation today?
Hmm. To remember to find the joy in the simple things,
Yes.
because we can't always, like we said, we can't always have those high highs.
Right.
Those are great, but it's been a really good reminder to just talk in depth about joy
Mm.
and for me to kind of think about the different ways that I can implement it in the simple things. From I'm going to sit down and eat my dinner. I'm just going to just enjoy my dinner. I'm not going to listen to something, and I'm just going to enjoy this. Enjoy this moment.
Being aware of it. Yeah, that's honestly a great reminder. And I think sometimes, we just need to be reminded, because we do get caught up in our lives. Like, we are human, and part of our human behavior is like, there's just so much happening in our world today. To sit down and just be present for this moment, even if it's just for 1 second.
Right. Even if just, I feel like super simple practice that you could do anywhere, anytime. Just take one mindful breath and set the intention of like, I'm breathing into joy, and just imagine yourself filling with joy as you inhale, releasing any worries, doubts, fears as you exhale. So simple. Any moment, just tap back in, connect with yourself, be like, here I am.
And honestly, nothing is that deep. I think when you tap into that, you find that it's just life happening. And we're taking it way too seriously sometimes, just to kind of come back to self. Before the programming, before the world taught you who you need to be, before all the limiting beliefs, before all of that, you don't need anything.
Yeah, it's like when things get overwhelming, because in this day and age, it does.
Yes.
And I think so many people are so overwhelmed all the time that they don't even realize they're overwhelmed. That's just the state they're used to being in.
Right. Bringing ourselves out of it. I mean, even now, doing that breath work, doing it for a few times. I know I do it myself, you do it as well. But if everyone can just breathe, I think people are forgetting to breathe sometimes. And it's become, again, that's on autopilot too, but that's a whole other can of worms for another day. Where can our audience connect with you?
I am on Instagram at Self-Care with Corey, and that's kind of the main place to reach me at the moment.
Beautiful. Yeah, everyone needs to really check her out and connect with her. Such a beautiful soul. Really appreciate you being here. I appreciate this conversation. Thank you to you, and thank you to our audience for tuning in. Please like, comment, subscribe, the whole shebang. Let us know what resonated with you, and we'll see you again in our next episode.